In today's video, we're gonna test the performance on the AMD Ryzen R5 2400G with RX Vega 11 to figure out if this is still a relevant APU, budget CPU on the market in 2018 and possibly even 2019. And yeah, with that said, let's jump into it. Hey, how is it going, guys? Robin here on Chips Entertainment, bringing you the best tips and tools for gaming on the channel. You'll find PC components, tech gadgets and console accessories, as well as product reviews and even unboxings. If you're interested in that, consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any uploads. So in today's video, we're gonna be testing this budget gaming CPU. Yeah, for $159 US on Amazon, you can get this complete gaming experience. Now, a few things to know. Latest driver has been used here, which is the Radeon Adrenaline Edition 18.10.4, which is the latest driver released by AMD a few days ago. Now, have I done any overclocking on the system? No, I haven't. Everything has been left completely untouched. Here you can see the exact numbers provided by AMD Ryzen Master as well. Is there anything else? Yes. So, I am using 8 gigabytes of memory here, and obviously I'm running them in dual channel, which I'm highly recommend you guys to do as well. Running in single channel will penalize the performance, and yeah, I'm running these memories in its native 2667 MHz. I've selected the XMP profile in BIOS, so we're gonna be testing 6 games today. It's gonna be CSGO, World of Warcraft, we got Fortnite, we got Overwatch, we got GTA 5, and lastly we got Doom as well. Now with that said, let's jump into CSGO. So Counter-Strike Global Offensive isn't very demanding and maxed out. We're able to achieve an average frame rate of 3 digits, which is nice to see, although it should be said I did not expect anything else here, probably not you either. What's worth noting is that the CPU stays around 30 to 40% usage throughout my whole testing here, but the GPU was peaking all the time because we didn't set any frame limit. Now, if your goal is to play games such as Fortnite, CSGO, League, or even Dota in a reasonable frame rate of 60 frames per second, I'm telling you now already, you can do that with this APU alone. You don't need to look elsewhere, guys, as long as you're fine with compromising on the settings in some titles. And with that said, let's move on to WoW. I found the preset 5 to be pretty accurate for this build. As always, simply pause the video as I'm scrolling through the settings pretty quickly here. Worth noting here is that I'm running DX12 actually, and view distance is set to 5 out of 10. Now if you're questing or doing arena or similar, having viewing angle set to 5 should maybe work in many areas, but otherwise I would actually recommend to drag this all the way up to the very highest. Otherwise you're missing out on the experience, in my opinion. Definitely worth playing around with, as this has a pretty high penalty on the frame rate, but overall game runs very well with an average of 57 FPS in busy areas. Time to play some Fortnite again. Believe it or not, game runs great on the RX Vega 11. I achieved the best result by first selecting low as the preset and then set the texture to high. After that I decided to also push the scaling all the way up to 1920 by 1080. By doing so, you get rid of the blurriness and you end up with a much crisper and sharper looking game in general, but with minimal performance impact, as you can see. However, in Fortnite you need the viewing distance as well, otherwise you're gonna be leaving opportunity on the table, so therefore you're gonna want to drag this all the way up to ultra or epic, as Epic likes to call it. Otherwise there's just no point even playing the game. So with everything set to low except for textures and viewing distance, you end up with a great looking game that averages around 55 FPS and peaks at around the 90 mark whenever you're looking at less busy areas. Overall, I'm completely satisfied with these settings, guys, and I would be more than happy to play at this frame rate myself. Now it's time to play some Overwatch. By default, the game will pick medium preset, so I decided to try that. but because it looked too much like the Xbox 360, it got me scared, so I had to do something about it. High works great here, game runs incredibly well, to my surprise as well. Now, even during the most intense moment, I never dipped under the 50 mark. Again, you can see the exact settings on what I was using as I'm scrolling through them. Worth noting here, guys, that the game is not being scaled 100% natively here, meaning that there is some downscaling which helps the frame rate a bit here. It's not very obvious. I'm not sure if you guys can pick it up on the video, but the game looks generally crisp and beautiful. Fluidity is most important after all, and Overwatch runs great on the AMD Ryzen 2400G with the Radeon RX Vega 11. Yes, I also decided to jam through the benchmark tool in GTA as well, if there's any one of you guys still playing it, since it's a sandbox game and a lot of open wide areas. It's a great test to just run to see where the system like this lands. Many people have also played the game at least once, so you can relate more visually what to expect in general. I don't know if that made any sense whatsoever, but yeah. Anyway, after been playing around with his settings a lot, I decided to leave everything set to low with a few exceptions. As always, I'm scrolling through the exact settings of what I was using, but worth noting is that I'm sticking to DX12 here because the game didn't want me to run DX11. Since we only have 8 GB of total memory, I didn't want to push the system too hard, and DX11 requires more RAM than DX10 to run in the end. Now, with an average frame rate of 55 from running the benchmark tool, I'm smiling, even though you can question whether you want to play at these low settings. This game at low looks like San Andreas to me. Let me know if you can relate. Last but definitely not least, I tested Doom as well, and I tested both Vulkan and OpenGL 4.5 here. Vulkan runs best with around 8 to 12 more frames regardless of what settings I was using, therefore I decided to stick to Vulkan. 1080p low results in around 40 average frame with the scaling to 100%, so some form of scaling is necessary here for an enjoyable experience. I played around with the different settings for a bit, but decided to set scaling to 70% and ramping everything up to medium, and it gave me a not awfully looking game, so to speak. Game actually looks pretty good, and considering we're actually playing on an integrated GPU, felt quite unreal, to be frank. At these settings I was able to reach the necessary 60 FPS, making it a very enjoyable experience. With an average under the 60 mark, it is as good as it gets. As a bonus, guys, I can say that I also tried Black Ops 4 as well, but the lack of RAM made me skip the game in the end. It would have meant too much headache to bother with, as 8 GB simply isn't enough for an APU system where the whole system, including graphics card, shares the very same memory. And yeah, with that said, guys, that is my testing round for this time. Would you like to see more similar tests like this in the future? Also, would you like me to overclock the system and do a run on that as well? Please let me know. I would be more than happy to do that for you. Now, thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time, have an awesome day, alright? Bye!